Good morning, everybody. I hope your day started well. Happy New Year to everybody. Hope you had a great holiday. My day is going good for what it's worth, and it's going to be even better in just a very short time. So we will call the meeting to order, and if you would, please stand with me for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, this being a specially called meeting, will be a very short meeting. Just as a review, the first item, we will be electing the board officers, the chair and vice chair. And then we have an action item to approve the next year's calendar, which the new chair will be taking care of that. At this time, for election of officers, we will take nominations for chair, but there's not a second needed for nominations. And then for vice chair, we'll move to vice chair, and then and take nominations for that if there are more than one. Mr. Morgan,
Mr. Chair, I think the new once the new chair is elected, I think the new chair holds the other election. Is that correct?
I believe that the existing chair conducts both elections.
Okay.
And
sure.
it might be simpler that way if there is no objection.
Yeah. That's no objection.
Okay.
And I checked with the county, with our parliamentarian before the meeting started. But thank you, Mr. Sweeney. I always like to be safe than sorry. So thank you. At this time, we'll take nominations for chair. Mr. Morgan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning and Happy New Year to everyone. I would like to nominate Ms. Susan Thayer for chair.
Okay, nomination has been made. Is there any other nomination? Seeing none, we have one nomination, and all in favor of Ms. Thayer, please signify by raising your right hand. Okay, I'm showing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and opposed. One opposed. Ms. Thayer, congratulations.
Thank you, Mr. Scanlon.
Okay, moving right along. At this time, the chair will entertain nominations for vice chair. So Mr. Sweeney's hand first.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to nominate Mr. David Chastain.
Okay. Any other nominations for vice chair? Seeing none, nominations are closed for vice chair. All in favor of vice chair, please signify by raising your right hand. Okay, I'm showing 7 in favor and none against. Okay, well, Mr. Parliamentarian, if we do this correctly at this time, I would like to ask Ms. Thayer if she would trade chairs with me.
Okay. Thank you all for that support and confidence. I appreciate it. Mr. Scammahorn, thank you for your service. And we'll move on to our one item, and that is our action agenda item. Mr. Superintendent, if you'll present that, please.
Yes, ma'am, Madam Chair, members of the board. What I want to do, normally it would just be, here's the schedule and let's move on. But I do want to bring up one potential change. In the month of July, in previous history, we have only had one meeting and then we moved to 2 meetings. With the schedule that we have with the school calendar starting a little bit earlier, and all of the trainings and meetings that have to take place right before school starts, I would like to propose that we move back to only one meeting in July. We have discussed how to handle the meeting being only one meeting in July, about how to have the work session time and then also the voting session time and have it separated on the same day. But I just feel like that it would be in everyone's best interest to be able to have that one meeting in July, and that would be Wednesday, July the 20th. So I would make that proposed change to the schedule and obviously open it up for any questions or discussions or that kind of thing.
All right. Mr. Banks.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Question for Mr. Ragsdale. If we move back to July the 20th, will the agenda items on the July, if there are any to be voted on, would have to be carried over to Thursday? Agenda prep usually happens earlier in the month. Could we kind of like do a combine where we get the agenda out earlier and have the work session and voting session as a combination?
Yes, sir. That's exactly what I'm proposing. Is July 20th would be both work session and voting session combined in the same day.
But we would get the agenda out
early.
the second week.
Yes.
July.
As soon as Chairman Agenda Prep is concluded,
So-
we'll get that package out to the board members so that you'll have
So
ample time.
The public will have plenty of time to review what's on the agenda.
Right. Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Madam Chair, I make a recommendation that we accept the superintendent's recommendation and that we go to one meeting in July and that we strike the Thursday, July 28th meeting that's on the schedule. Is that correct, Superintendent?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there discussion? Mr. Scammahorn.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to be clear, in the past, some of the confusion was that we were trying to combine both meetings into one meeting. Did I understand that we would have 2 separate meetings, basically with a short break in between so that we could make sure that the agenda stayed the same or was sequential?
Right. That's what we're looking at. That's what we've discussed, is having it in the past. What has happened is it's just been one meeting, and that's been the end of it. You discuss the agenda items and vote on the agenda items during the same meeting. To maintain some sort of separation between a work session type of meeting and the voting session, we would, exactly as you just said, we would kind of define with a break in between the two. So we were probably, and granted this is 6 months away, or longer than 6 months away, but 7 months away. Ooh. But we'll get into the details and we'll communicate that to the board and to the public, obviously. But the anticipation would be we would start with an executive session, just as we do at any meeting or the night meeting, and then we would have the work session type of meeting where all the discussion could take place. And then we would break into executive session again for a short break, and then come back and have the voting session so that all the discussion can be had, and then time for board members to reflect if additional questions are needed, and then come back and have the voting. But we would start the meeting at the 8:30 time frame on July 20th. Yep.
Thank you, Mr. Ragsdale. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay. Is there any other discussion? Okay, then we'll call for a vote for the proposal to accept the superintendent's recommendation that we accept this calendar with the exception that July the 20th is the only board meeting in the month of July. All those in agreement, please raise your right hand. Okay, I believe we have 7-0 on that. Okay, thank you. So the agenda is set. Is there any other action that needs to be brought before the board, Mr. Superintendent? Any other input? Okay,
I do, Madam Chair.
all right.
Thank you.
Mr. Morgan?
I wanted to say that, publicly say that I didn't know that I had two people who wanted to give public comment, and I had forgotten. We do this so infrequently, I forgot that we don't do public comment at this meeting. So I just wanted to publicly let you know that I thought that we did it. But after the meeting, we still will have conversations. So I don't want you to just think your time was in vain coming this morning. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Morgan. That was very nice. Thank you. Mr. Scamhorn?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I wanted to congratulate you on being the new chair, also the new vice chair. Look forward to continue to try to help in any way I can, and I hope you have a good year. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Scamhorn. And thank you, now that you brought that up, too. I do believe that the chair is here just to help things move quickly and purposefully, and we each have one vote, one of 7, and that's the way we'll intend to run things, and we have a very capable superintendent here who will lead us in the right direction. If there's, Mr. Banks.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to say congratulations on being nominated and elected as chair. Look forward to a very exciting 12 months. And also for the public's information, Ms. Thayer really is under a little bit of duress this morning. Her husband is in the hospital, has been for over a week. And so hopefully soon he'll be able to come home. But those who did not know, Mr. Thayer, who is also the supervisor of the concert hall at Laster, is in the Piedmont Hospital right now. So just want to make everybody aware of Ms. Thayer's situation.
Thank you, Mr. Banks. And many people have been very kind to send well wishes to Ed. He's appreciated each one of those, and he has been very ill, but he will be back with us soon. So thank you so much. If there is nothing else, we are adjourned. Thank you.